Today on Fuck the Stigma News, we're covering Xylazine. Most overdose deaths are linked to mixing xylazine with fentanyl, alcohol, cocaine, heroin, other street drugs, and prescription opioids. First off, what is xylazine? Xylazine is also known as tranq in some parts of the country due to its tranquilizing effects. It is used in veterinary medicine. The National Institutes of Health states ketamine and xylazine is often most given as an injection as an anesthetic combination. When used for the euthanasia purposes, this is used for the first stages of euthanizing animals.
Where did xylazine come from? According to the DEA, xylazine was first synthesized in 1962 by Bayer Pharmaceutics and was investigated for potential human use in clinical trials as an analgesic, or a painkiller, sleeping aid, and anesthetic. However, these trials were terminated due to its severe hypotension and central nervous system depressant effects, and so it was not approved for human digestion due to its side effects. Some of the side effects of xylazine in humans include drowsiness, amnesia, slowed breathing, dangerously slowed heart rate and low blood pressure, blurred vision, coma, mitosis or pinpoint pupils, severe skin lesions that lead to necrotic tissue or the death of the cells or tissue. What happens with this side effect is your skin will turn black, you'll get ulcers that eventually become almost to the bone, black, dead skin. We do have graphic pictures of some of the people who have experienced this side effect.
The NDA also states, because xylazine is not an opioid, naloxone, an opioid antagonist, does not address the impact of xylazine on breathing. Narcan will not save you if you're using fentanyl laced with xylazine. The Institute of Drug Abuse stated, while the full national scope of overdose deaths involving xylazine is unknown, research shows overdose deaths linked to xylazine have spread westward across the United States, with the largest impact in the Northeast.
From 2015 to 2020, the percentage of all drug overdose deaths involving xylazine increased from 2% to 26% in Philadelphia. Xylazine was involved in 19% of all drug overdose deaths in Maryland in 2021 and 10% in Connecticut in 2020.
We have not been able to find much updated research on the statistic from a reliable source.
Most deaths are linked to mixing xylazine with fentanyl, alcohol, benzos, cocaine, heroin, gabapentin, methadone, and prescription opiates.
All this information is sourced from government official websites. But today we brought someone to share their personal experience with xylazine. Welcome to Fuck the Stigma News. Today, me and Maddie have brought on Carrie to talk about her xylazine experience. So we did have a few questions for you regarding the xylazine. There's not much coverage in the news or like the media about people's stories and experiences with it, and I've only just been recently aware of xylazine and its effects, and we don't know too much about it. So I was wondering what you could offer to the table, and I have Maddie here as my co-host on Fuck the Stigma News. This is our first ever real long form episode, and I'm excited to launch it here with Carrie.
Cool.
So,
thank you for having me.
Okay.
Yeah. How are you today, actually?
I'm good.
Nice.
Yeah. How are
Oh,
you?
wait, happy birthday.
Oh,
It was
thank
just
you.
your-
Yesterday. I'm going down in years.
Going down. 20 years old.
It's right.
So,
My first question is, what is xylazine or your understanding of it?
So all I know about it is that it's an animal tranquilizer. I've heard that it's like the first step to euthanizing and like cats and dogs like at the vet, but I don't really know much of it behind it, but
Besides your experience.
yeah, besides my experience, yeah.
so you started using around what age?
Dope, I started using at 17.
What is dope?
Well, okay, good question. So it was heroin back then, like real heroin. And then I don't know exactly when it switched, just like I don't know, like I can't tell exactly when the xylazine came in the picture.
Oh, that goes into one of my questions. So you weren't aware of when the xylazine was put into the drug, so it didn't really
Yeah.
affect the high of the drug then?
No.
You didn't notice a difference?
I mean, I got very paranoid and stuff at the end. I don't know if that was more xylazine related but I've heard that people just doing the dope out there, which is like the fentanyl cut with the xylazine.
Initially, dope is heroin.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the dope now,
It's fentanyl.
It's
fentanyl.
fentanyl with xylazine, yeah. But I don't really know the point that the xylazine came into effect. Everybody just started with these wounds. And then people started finding out what it was, and the overdoses weren't reversible because xylazine isn't reversible with Narcan.
Wait, where were you experiencing all of this? Like, where were you based when you were actively in your addiction the most?
Kensington, Philadelphia.
Okay.
That's where I'm from.
So, would you say that xylazine is really in the community out there?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's prevalent. It's in everything. Yeah, it's even in like the coke, the crack, meth. It's in everything. I've heard about it in weed.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, my mind was blown when fentanyl was like getting put in weed.
Yeah.
You said, so you started noticing the skin tags was what you said.
Yeah.
Around what year?
Or how long were you into your usage when you started noticing that?
So I was probably like 26 or 27 when I started noticing like the difference in the dope. You would do it and it wouldn't last as long. Or you would do it, pass out, wake up, and then and then be sick automatically. Mm-hmm. Which fentanyl, like, you had a little bit after you had a little bit of time after you woke up. With xylazine, it's just like you pass out. That's all the high is, and then you wake up and you're sick again.
What did you experience when you would pass out? Was it like an overdose, would you say, or was it black? Like, what was the experience?
It was really just like, yeah, basically black. Yeah, I just fell asleep and it was just waking up and it was
I've had a similar experience recently, and I didn't know about this, you know. So
yeah.
I feel like I may have experienced it, but I don't know. Like, you know,
yeah.
People don't know that this is in the drugs now.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, no, it's like you wake up and I remember I did it one time and it was dark out and woke up and it was light out. But I knew like when it had just gotten dark. So like I was out for like 12 hours. And a lot of people consider that overdosing, but like that's just a norm in xylazine where you like don't, or fentanyl or whatever you want to call it, the dope. You don't realize that like you lose a whole day just from doing one shot.
Oh, so you were shooting?
Yeah.
Only shooting?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah, well,
so
there were points where I like couldn't shoot because
right.
of veins and issues, but
and
for the most part, yeah.
Did it affect everybody the same?
Yeah.
Regardless of how you used?
Yeah. I feel like now there's more in the product now, so like even smoking it, snorting it's all gonna affect like any little cut, or like if you have a pimple or something, it'll like if you mess with it. Also, it's very like dirty in Kensington. My nails were constantly dirty, and then I'm playing with like a blackhead, and then that turns into something, or like an ingrown hair.
So do you think it was from the xylazine that you were getting these sores, or was it because of the lack of hygiene? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that was no. I mean, I think it was a combination. The one on my ankle was definitely because I shot there, and then it blew up, and then it just turned into a big hole, and so that time it was definitely from the xylazine. And the ones on my like wrist, I know it was from the xylazine. Now I do. Then I was just like, oh, it's because I missed. Because when you miss, you get abscesses too, with regular dope. And so, but it was when they started like opening up, and I didn't have to go get it lanced or anything that I like heard about this trank stuff.
When did you start hearing about it? Like when we were like, oh, this is what I'm doing, xylazine, I'm cool with it.
I mean, it wasn't really like I cared, I guess.
Oh yeah.
You know, but I was at the point where I was like trying to get clean, and then I wouldn't be able to do the work, so I wouldn't stay clean. So I was in and out of recovery house, treatment centers, and just like through that process, you know, I just heard that a big part of the dope is the xylazine.
What year did you discover that?
I would say probably like 2020.
Really?
2019, yeah.
Did the people around you who weren't shooting have similar sores?
Yeah. A lot of people who just strictly like smoke it or snort it would get the same sores.
Was there any like medical care for anybody?
There's a lot of nonprofits that are out there, and they'll come out and do wound care, just because so many people aren't willing to go into the hospital because there's that point of sickness. It's like as soon as you get the IV antibiotic, you're back out because you're sick. So it's good that they have the nonprofits like come and do wound care. They have like off-duty nurses that are just like willing to volunteer and come wrap people up and stuff. Because also a big thing there with the xylazine is with all the open wounds and everything, it's hard to get in treatment with open wounds.
Really?
You can't get treatment, won't take you first. So then you got to do that period of time in the hospital first. But you got to be able to make it through that period of time. So it's like hard.
What is the detox regimen for xylazine?
Well, they're not specifically testing for it. At least the treatment centers that I've been to, they weren't specifically testing for xylazine. They just tested for like the normal 12 panel fentanyl, oxy, stuff like that. So I would always have to go in with a benzo in my system so that I would get a benzo taper, because in reality I couldn't get through the detox with just Suboxone or methadone.
How did the detox from Xylazine differ from other detoxes maybe before the Xylazine was in the drugs?
I feel like it just wasn't doable.
Mentally or physically, do you think?
Both?
Yeah.
Both maybe. I also didn't I didn't feel a way out when I was home. Like, because I could always have that option of leaving and going to feel better, because that's all I wanted to do was feel better. But yeah, they started different stuff as I haven't been out there for a year, and they started different stuff as I was leaving for detox. Like, they started throwing pheno in the detox protocol for the fentanyl, which is essentially the Xylazine. But yeah, I stopped going in without benzos in my system because the benzo taper actually made it manageable to be able to get through.
In your opinion, this is an opinion now, of like, why do you think it's being put in drugs? Like, even like from the effect you were feeling, like
Weight?
Yeah, pretty much to make it bigger. Like, you get something that's this big and you put a little extra in it that's just some additive, and now it's this big, and then you double your profit. I see why they do it, and it's also it's a tranquilizer, obviously, but it's an animal tranquilizer, so that's why it's making these wounds and stuff. But you get the same effect, but it's more like you just pass out for 12 hours, you wake up and it's light out, and you're like, what happened?
And Narcan doesn't work on it.
Yeah, it's not responsive to Narcan.
How much time do you have sober now?
I have a year on the 28th.
the 28th this month?
Yeah.
Sick.
Congratulations. Do you work in treatment?
I do.
Okay, so you're a rad T.
Yeah, I've worked in treatment for like going 6 months. 6 months now.
Sweet. How's that experience been?
I mean, I love it. It's helped me a lot in my recovery. I think at home you can't work in treatment until you have like a year or two clean, and like I thank God that.
Wow.
Because I wasn't able to sponsor at 6 months, but I was still helping people at work. You know what I mean? So like, I was on maybe I don't know where I was in the steps, but I just wasn't at helping people yet. So to work in treatment, it still kept it green. I still got to help like newcomers and get that, 12th step effect, I guess.
So do you know any nonprofits specifically by name that you can provide for people who are looking for resources?
Yeah, for sure. There is Spark Plug, which is a couple people in my family came up with it.
How did that come about?
So I lost 2 cousins to fentanyl, and at my cousin Maggie's funeral, my family was like, this is enough is enough of this. We need to do something to help people who try to get clean, because in my experience, I've had so many times of trying to get clean, and like the $1,200 back rent and no job yet and no paycheck yet would stress me out to the point where I would go back out, just because we don't know how to be adults when we haven't been for so long. When like I was literally at animalistic levels, and then having to like be like, okay, now you have to go to work, you have to pay these bills.
In sober living,
yes, yes.
Like you're getting domesticated now.
Yes,
when
pretty
you were in
much
survival mode for so long.
Yeah, so it was like relearning, and it was like I just knew that way so well for so long that was the easy escape, rather than trying to get through. And early in recovery, you don't necessarily want to get through those things, so it's very easy to take the out of not doing anything.
So the nonprofit
Spark, so it's supporting people around the recovery community. They like all their fundraisers and stuff, everything goes to helping the addict on the street, helping the addicts get treatment, helping addicts in early recovery pay for the first like month to 90 days of recovery houses. Yeah, because that was such a big stressor for me in the beginning, and my mom having that experience talking with my aunt who had just lost a child to this disease. Yeah, it came about that could solve the problem.
Where are they based?
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
The hub of all of this.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. I kind of also want to hear you talk about what it's. You said you were out and about in Kensington.
Yeah.
I want to hear a little bit about that. But first, was that the only nonprofit you kind of wanted to mention?
There was a couple more that really helped me out when I was out there. Angels in Motion, Never Surrender Hope, Savage Sisters. Yeah, they're the like the ones that I've seen mostly that was coming down and you know giving me things to wrap wounds with, or like even just something as little as like alcohol wipes.
They would actually go in the streets.
Food, yeah. They would give you like little Ziploc bags filled with like, you know, little grab snacks and a little card that was like, you know, there's hope for you, or like just something uplifting, you know. And it was always good to see like that little note. But yeah, a lot of people came out there and helped clean up wounds. There's like, this is kind of gross, but like there's like a stench in Kensington.
I've heard
of like rotting flesh. Yeah,
I've heard. Yeah. And it's because of the Xylazine, you think?
Yeah, for sure. Because everybody who is doing dope there has at least like something little open wound, you know.
So how would you kind of sum up that experience in Kensington? How long were you out there?
On and off for, I would say, 4 years. I mean, Kensington has been part of my story the whole time, but before I was like homeless out there, I would just visit, you know what I mean? Because I grew up in Northeast Philly, which is about 10-15 minutes L ride, and the L is like 2 seconds, and it comes every 5 minutes. So it would be like a trip, but then when I started staying there, it's just a whole nother world. It's a third world country, essentially.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, but I don't want to minimize, actually, like it's not like a third world country because you get people that come out and help you, you know what I mean? But it is in the form of like
how people are living on the street.
How people are living.
Yeah, people living on at the animalistic level.
Literally with the animal tranquilizer.
Yeah.
Drugs.
Yeah.
People are being tranquilized like animals.
And the drug dealers, like they just try to push it the most.
No, they want
money.
It's business.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, addiction is strong and people will just keep doing it until they can't anymore.
Yeah. And it's all integrated into like, that's what they seen as a kid. So, you know, that, and if that's like, okay, that's their survival mode.
They can't get out.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's a circle.
I've heard I've seen like, I've done some research on Kensington and I've heard it's literally almost like something you can't get out of.
It is, because
it's, like, really hard
it's
to.
just so like, it's not accepted, but like to the people living on the street there, it is so like
normal.
Yeah, it's just an everyday norm. There was just a lot of things that you get used to that like isn't normal normally, but you don't know that until you're out of it. Like I confined myself to like probably like a 4 to 6 block radius for 4 years. So it's like anything outside of that was unnormal to me, you know? And just like being addicts, anything not loaded is like unnormal to us.
It feels like insane to be sane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to ask about kind of what the day-to-day for you looked like in Kensington.
Day-to-day was woke up whatever time it was usually woken up by somebody because I slept on a school step for a long time, or I slept in a friend's bando. At the end, I found a bando to myself. So I would like just wake up from just whenever I woke up, you know, go walk the Ave. I prostituted and stuff. So yeah, so that I was just hopping in and out of cars, going to get a couple, getting loaded, falling asleep for hours, going back on the Ave. It's just a repetitive
cycle.
Yeah. And like I started hearing things at the end. Like I said, I don't know if that's the Xylazine or what. I just started being very paranoid, and I would call my mom, and like she would just agree with the things I was saying, so that I would keep calling her because she didn't want to not hear from me.
Well, you can't tell somebody who's in their own reality that their reality isn't real.
Yeah.
You know, because
then
they won't listen to you.
Exactly.
They're gonna get mad at you. So you just can't.
And that's what she said. She was like, I just had to agree with you, or you wouldn't call me for a week at a time.
How is your relationship with your mom today?
Awesome. My mom was just out here to visit me. My mom's always been my biggest supporter. Yeah, we just have a great relationship today. She understands a lot about the disease. She's part of the nonprofit.
So it's your family that started Sparkplug, the nonprofit. So are you participating in any events with that? Like, are you a part of that now?
Yeah, I'm trying to be as much a part of it as I can be. So Bill, my other cousin that passed away, he tried to bring it out here when just his sister had passed away. And it came about pretty much, and he passed away in February. So just bringing it back out, I think, is awesome, and I want to try to run with it, you know, pick it up and run with it.
Yeah.
We gotta go to Philly. We gotta hit fuck the stigma and spark
yeah.
plug out there
Yeah.
in Philly. Do some
Yeah.
outreaches.
Yeah, dude, I love doing outreaches, but I haven't been home yet. But I love doing outreaches. Like I have a defense against the first one now, you know, but I still love Philly. I still miss Philly, you know. But my mom was like, "Well, what do you miss about it?" And I'm like,
He's home.
Maybe
"Yeah,
family?
exactly, family." Because otherwise, like, I don't miss the smell of rotting flesh. I don't miss not being able to shower. I don't miss living in abandoned houses. I don't miss seeing people overdosing in bodies all the time. Like,
Well, hopefully when you do visit home, you can have a new perspective on it
sure.
and a whole new experience. And maybe, you know, we could go out there with you and, you know,
Yeah.
be
That'd be
there
sick.
for you. And
Yeah.
I'm
you
so
could
down.
show us some things and we can keep you accountable as well.
yeah, for sure. That would be like perfect to have people who are
Yeah.
also in the program. You know?
And like we could do the nonprofit thing that your mom does out there, going out in the streets if you're comfortable with that.
Yeah.
You know, it depends because you haven't been home yet and that's really hard. But we'll get there when we get there. I think that would be a great experience.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Good exposure just to get, you know, this information out there because this stuff is killing people.
Yeah.
I think we got everything covered. I just want to clarify, what year did you physically start having effects from Xylazine, or did you start getting the sores? What year was
All
that?
the sores and everything was like 2018. Some of the pictures that I have are dated 2018.
So we do have graphic imaging of Carrie's sores and the, like what Xylazine can do to your skin. So they'll be at the end of this video.
And others.
And
It is
others.
very shocking. So if you are not somebody who can handle or stomach
Gore.
do not view it.
Thank you. So yeah, thank you, Carrie, for coming on and sharing your experience with Xylazine.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Getting open, honest, and vulnerable here with me and Maddie.
Thanks for having me.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
So proud of you for getting
Thank
a
you.
year also. Almost.
Thank
You're
you.
almost there.
Almost
fronts.
there.
No fronts.
Okay, well, it's been a year since I've used Xylazine. I had to come off of methadone as well. So
Okay.
So since June 17th was the last time I shot dope or smoked and did any of that.
That's sick.
Any other detox medication like methadone, or I was on a benzo taper, thank God, or I wouldn't have ran, or I might have ran. But yeah, July 28th is my
So-
official year.
Sick.
You incorporated your detox into your clean time.
Yes.
That's dope.
Yes, because that was like, it was a personal thing, I guess. But when I first came out and like that whole last 2 weeks of June, all of July, I was still picking up white key tags. And at the 30-day mark from June 17th to July 17th, I picked up 30 days. Because for me to pick up like, and then I just didn't pick up another one until I had the next 30 days, so that I didn't have to pick up white newcomer, because I think that was kind of like minimalizing those days, and those days are probably like the hardest that I've been through detox wise, and like the hardest to get through and stay and sit with yourself, you know.
You survived.
You're
I
fucking
did.
here.
I
You're
did,
sharing your
dude, and
story.
now it's a year later, and almost a year later.
Without you being here and making it out of there, we would not have this information.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Do
we
you
have not been
realize
able to
how
find it.
valuable your experiences are and how
Yeah.
many people this can reach and how many people this can help?
Yeah.
It's super important.
I have
want you
this
to know
shirt
that.
on that says if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere, and it's like Philly skyline or whatever.
Show us.
Fucking Philly, bro.
You
Sick.
made it. All right.
Thank you, Carrie.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.